Kandi Burruss and Tamar Braxton. If you don't know where the drama started, where it's been, where it's going, grab a drink, grab a snack. This might be a few parts, but I'm gonna break it down for you. Now, back in December of 2022, just 3 months ago, Kandi went on House of Aaron and she was explaining how she is not messing with Carlos King anymore after she found out he sold and stole the rights to Xscape's life story for a biopic for TV One.
I just thought that was the lowest thing that anybody could ever do. When you're a public figure, they can do unauthorized stories about you. Never once, all them years we have been around each other, he had never once told me that he was trying to do a movie about us, and to be able and to go behind my back and to do that, and that's our life story.
Right.
I was like, I can't fuck with him ever again.
Now, who is Carlos King, you might be asking? Well, Carlos King is the executive producer extraordinaire behind, in my opinion, the best 8 seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta. He's touched Real Housewives of New Jersey, Love and Marriage Huntsville. I mean, the list goes on. They coin him the king of reality TV. Now, in the same interview where Kandi basically said, I ain't messing with Carlos no more, she also claimed that, she helped Carlos get to the executive producer status that he is now with her spinoff show, Kandi's Wedding. And it is good to know, I did my research. Kandi, we all might know, hopefully we know, that Kandi was just not an OG Real Housewife of Atlanta. She came on during season 2, which premiered in 2009, so they must have started shooting at the end of 2008, so that it premiered that next summer. But Carlos was definitely there in either an associate producer role or AP role or producer role since season 1, or when they shot in 2008. Fun fact. So even though Carlos was definitely producing or associate producing for Atlanta since day one, Kandi still could have helped him attain that executive producer, lead executive producer status along the way. After this interview came out, all Kandi's fans started to swarm Carlos and saying how bad of a person he was for trying to sell the Xscape story, and that's where she comes in. So Tamar comes to Carlos's defense and she posts a picture with a caption that says, "My friend Carlos King, who don't gotta steal nobody nothing, I love you." I'd also like to note that Tamar did unfollow Kandi on Instagram at this time. So boom, we know Kandi and Carlos, they're not messing with each other, but Tamar comes to Carlos's defense. A few weeks go by, Tamar goes back to Instagram and she posts a series of stories. One in which says that she was threatened by a peach emoji and a man. Of course, Atlanta fans are like, well, who could it be? Eva and her husband? Drew and Ralph? Kandi and Todd? Tamar just kind of goes quiet, like we never find out. So again, all of that drama happened 3 months ago. Fast forward to the most recent episode of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Tamar Braxton is on the show and they get a caller who asks her like, hey, what was that cryptic message about? Like, who was it about? And the plot thickens. Go to part 2. So let's get into the most recent episode of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Tamar Braxton's on. She's talking about Queen's Court on Peacock, which just wrapped, talking about her new fiance and just like all the things, all her new ventures and stuff. And 2 fans call in and they're like, Tamar, who were you referring to in these cryptic Instagram posts 3 months ago? And Andy was like, people were saying that you were talking about Eva. And Tamar was like, no, but let me tell you that what actually happened, like what I said happened. I really was threatened. And then Andy was like, Drew? And she was like, no, not Drew. But they came to the conclusion that it was a full-blown housewife. And that's when Andy was like, well, Kandi? And Tamar took her drink, she took a sip, so we all kind of knew it was Kandi and Todd. Andy was like, didn't you and Kandi squash your beef back when you were on Celebrity Big Brother? If you don't know where that beef started, that could be a whole nother thread, but let me just give you a gist. So a few years ago, Kandi and Tamar were both on Celebrity Big Brother and they had a beef going on the show that stemmed from things that are happening outside of the show while they were on tour together. So Tamar kind of felt like Kandi disrespected her while they were on tour, spoke negatively about her in front of professionals and people that they were working with, and she didn't really like that. And so they just kind of had this beef going on the show. Eventually, Tamar goes up to Kandi and was just kind of like, we need to squash the beef. They hug it out and we all thought like, that's that on that. So now this new episode of Watch What Happens Live come out. People are like, Tamar's talking about Kandi, and so Tamar goes on Twitter that same night that the episode drops, and she's like, wait guys, like, I was silent about this for 3 months. I didn't say anything about it, but I was asked a question. So yeah, it's true. It's Kandi and Todd. They wanted to fight me, and like, you know, here's a tweet right here. But you know, they wanted to fight me. The story is true. I was threatened. Blase, blase. Then Kandi claps back and she posts a clip from, you know, this whole Wednesday Addams thing, basically saying that Tamar is trying to play the victim. And Tamar was not having it. She was not having it. So Tamar gives us a play-by-play of what happened the night that Kandi and Todd allegedly threatened her.
Weeks go by, 4 or 5 weeks go by, and we all have a concert together. And I'm leaving my dressing room to go to my dancer's dressing room to bring them their new clothes, and I see Kandi in the hallway. And I'm like, hey boo, and I give her a hug, you know, whatever, and she just look at me and she's like, I ain't fucking with you. And I'm like, what? I'm thinking she's kidding. Like, I'm for real thinking she's kidding. And she's like, I ain't fucking with you. I'm like, what happened? She like, oh, well, you said that shit you said about Carlos King was foul. And I'm like, oh shit, and I honestly truly forgot about it, right? And I'm like, listen, I didn't mean no harm. You know, I wasn't trying to, you know, go against you or nothing like that. It's, you know, just what I just explained to y'all. Like, I just feel like my responsibility is a little bit different. I ain't trying to call nobody publicly a liar when I don't know the whole story. I'm not comfortable with it. And she was like, nah. You said. And I'm like, sis, listen, if I offended you, I am so sorry. Like, you know, like I wasn't coming from that. I thought, man, you made up at Big Brother. You know, I wasn't coming for you. It's nothing like that. I really, truly, humbly apologize. And plus, I sent her a DM, and I said, I sent you a DM when, you know, when your fans was coming to my page. This was a while ago, and I was just trying to let you know that, you know, I wasn't trying to be, you know, malicious or nothing like that. Nah. But you said, and you did, and then you doubled down and put it in your story. I said, listen, Kandi, I'm not trying to go there with you. You know, we in the middle of this hallway. And now by this time, people swarming around. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we ladies, we shouldn't be doing this. We can go in my dressing room. Yeah, before I take it to the next level. Now, everybody know, I ain't really here for that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm cool and I'm safe. But I do know how to whip ass. And I don't do that because I don't condone violence at all, right? And I'm like, well, what's the name of the level you want to take it to? Like, what, you want to fight? Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. You said he did steal from us. Right? And I'm like, she is really serious right now. I'm like, all right, like, don't do that. First of all, I'm from Baltimore. We're not going to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm telling her again, it's my 4th time apologizing. I am so sorry if this offended you, right? I wasn't trying to be malicious towards you. Now I'm saying this again. This is in the hallway. I'm saying this again. Nah. I mean, bucking. And I'm like, and I get to the point where I'm like, look, dog, this is not Atlanta Housewives. I'm not getting paid to sit up here and argue with you like this. I'm about to go sing everybody on this bill under the table. I can't argue with you right now. Like, I finna do all that. And then, I am trying to completely de-escalate the situation. It's giving bobs and cackling and cacklings. And, like, then Tadina comes up and, like, he comes and get her. And he says something to her. And then he looks at me in my face. Y'all can believe this shit or not. Nigga look at me in my face and go, you know what it is.
And that was pretty much the end of the story that Tamar had told. Basically, it sounded like Tamar was most upset that Todd, or Tadina as she called him, got involved, because I guess she's just saying, you know, woman to woman, you can go all day, argue with a woman all day, but when a man gets involved, then it's just like, you know, too much, and we've seen this time and time again. Men should not get involved when it comes to like women bickering with each other unless it's just like to diffuse a situation, which it sounded like Todd grabbed Kandi and like tried to diffuse it, but he did that but had to like get his last lick in to Tamar before, you know, taking her away. So again, all of this is alleged. This is just what Tamar has been telling us, and Kandi and Todd have yet to speak out and say something. There were witnesses. Tamar says her fiance, you know, stuck to Todd the next show. So let me know whose side are we on, who we think is right, what do we think is wrong. I don't like the fact that these two queens are arguing, but it's just like, let's get to the root of the issue here. Is it Carlos King? Is he the culprit? Let me know down below.